Hi crafty friends, welcome back to Crafting with the Gringas. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I wash my yarn. And for that I'm going to be using this Swift. It's inspired by an Amish Swift that I had my husband make for me. He's a carpenter. And so that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to talk a little bit about washing instructions. Not a ton, but I did a little bit of research. And so this is my label. I'm going to be washing these pretty cotton yarns that I got in one of my thrifted hauls. Since I'm going to be making dolls out of these, I'm going to wash it first. Like if I feel like something needs to be washed before I use it, I'll wash it. And if you don't have a Swift, you can also put two chairs together and wind them around a chair, or have somebody hold their hands out and wind it around their hands. And then you just make little ties. And then that's gonna make our little hanks. And so this cotton yarn says that you're supposed to wash it by hand with mild soap, no bleach, not to wring it dry, wash colors separately, and not to tumble dry in the shade, and dry flat. Okay, so that's the washing instructions. And then I've got another label here. So this is for the cotton yarn, and then I have a label here that's for this acrylic yarn that I did a haul for recently. Okay, and this one also in Spanish it says not to wring it dry as well, but it doesn't say that in English. But yeah, so just check your yarn label. That's going to be the best situation. Okay, so let's get started. I'll just show you the little bit that I got in the middle going on. So I've just got this little pull. That's kind of what makes it go around. It's just another little bar that's in there. So I've got this little thing that goes in and keeps that there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the yarn, whichever direction you want to do it. I'm just going to place it like this, kind of loop it. And that way I can hold this for a minute up underneath. And then I'm just going to gently go around. The first couple times you have to go a little slow just so that the yarn doesn't fall off. I'm also going to be putting my skein into a bucket so that it can flop around and like unravel as I go, just to keep it clean but able to twist and turn, because I couldn't get to center pull these, and so I'm just going to put it in a bucket and let it flip and kind of go around. So I'm just going to keep going around and around. And while I do this for a minute, the first little bit, we can talk about a little bit about wool yarn. So with wool yarn, you're not going to want to put in the washing machine at all unless you want it to felt, because it will felt. It needs to be washed with cold water. You don't want anything warm at all. You're going to want very neutral soap. You're going to want to give it, handle it the least as possible so that to avoid it from felting as well. Do not wring it out, stretch it, agitate it, treat it very gently. Lay it flat to dry on a towel and out of direct sunlight. This is going to be true for most yarns made from animal fibers, but always remember to check the label on your particular yarn. Okay, and acrylic yarn is made out of synthetic fiber. It doesn't tend to shrink or felt. However, it can melt in the dryer a little bit if you do put it in the dryer, so it's probably better just to hang it or to lay it flat while it dries as well. Cotton fiber in most cases can be machine washed and dried. Some might run, and which is more common in like the pinks and the reds. So you'll want to keep those separate when you're washing them, and wash them in cold water as well. You can also add a little bit of distilled vinegar to help the dye from running. Like I said, this is cotton yarn, so I think it's mostly just usually for me, I just like to, unless it's acrylic, the stuff I've made in acrylic, I'll usually put in the washing machine, and since I don't have a dryer, everything just gets hung dry anyway. So that's not a problem for me, but just keep those things in mind, and definitely check your label, because yarns can be different, and like you wouldn't want to ruin any of your yarn. Okay, now that I've got all of my yarn onto my winder, or onto whatever place wherever we're winding it, just gonna find where the end is and tie. I'm using some little extra pieces of yarn that I have, so I'm just gonna make 4 little ties. So right now I've got, with this, I'm going to have both of my ends tied up good. So I'm just going to give it 2 little ties. You're going to want to make sure that if you're using a white yarn, or if you're going to be washing a white yarn, Rocky. So if you're going to be using white yarn or light colored yarn, you're not going to want to use like a green or anything like that that might bleed into your yarn. Pretty girl. Tell YouTube, pretty girl. Pia. Rocky, Rocky. Okay. Okay, so now I've got that. And what I do with mine, since mine's like this, I'm just gonna take out this first little thing. And then I can turn it, and it's easier to pull off. So now we've got our little hank, and you can just go twisting it till you're ready to wash it. And place it together and kind of makes a little hank for us. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be washing this white color first, and if it doesn't bleed into the water, I can get the white out and then I can place this one. If it bleeds, I'm gonna switch out water, but if it doesn't, then I'll probably put these red next. And then at last time, I'll put this green. So you're gonna wanna go from your lightest to darkest. Okay. I'll be back in just a minute and I'll be washing my yarn. Okay, I have my yarn all hanged up here. I'm just gonna add a couple little drops of some mild soap. I'm just gonna Mix that around. Okay, I think that should be enough. So I've got a few drops of mild soap there. Okay, and then we're just going to add our yarn and gently just move it around a little bit and get the water and the soap in there.